Hello my friends. Welcome to my ASMR video where I will be comparing the Finnish language with the Udmurt language. Both the Finnish and the Udmurt languages are Finno-Ugric languages, which means that a long time ago there was a language that both Finnish and Udmurt descend from. They have a common ancestor, and of course there are some commonalities, some similarities between the Finnish and the Udmurt languages. People who are smarter than me, people who know more about linguistics than me, have determined that these languages are quite similar. On the other hand, I don't speak Finnish, nor do I speak Udmurt. I do have one advantage, one little useful ability that helps me get a good look, helps me get a sort of a good look at the Udmurt language, and it is that I speak Russian and I can read Cyrillic. I can read Kirillitsa and I can read Udmurt words as they are spoken in Udmurt. I found a translator, Udmurt to Russian translator, on Google Apps, and I will be using words from this Udmurt to Russian translator to try and see commonalities between Udmurt and Finnish. Let's begin. We are going to start with общие фразы or common sayings. So hello in Udmurt will be salam. That's how they say hello in Udmurt. I am reading off my phone screen. So where I'm looking at is my phone screen. And in Finnish, hello will be hey. Interesting. Kind of similar to English. Okay. I wonder if that is a Germanic borrowing because salam in Udmurt language is certainly a borrowing from another source. The Udmurt word for как дела or how is business, how are you doing is, I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing this, Kycie užjosti. Kycie užjosti. Let me spell that here on the left. How are you? And let me enlarge this quite a lot so that you could see it. Kycie užjosti. How are you doing? What is that gonna be in Finnish? Let me translate that. How are you? So it seems that in Finnish, how are you is mitä kuuluu. Mitä kuuluu. I don't know. I There's also mitä mini, which I guess is easier for me to pronounce. I don't know how to pronounce that. There's two e's here. Okay, let's move on. So, um, let's move on to this statement in Udmurt. Благодарю хорошо in Russian is Tau umoi in Udmurt. And that means thank you, I'm good. Let me type that in. Tau umoi. Thanks, I'm good. Tau umoi. Let me see how to translate how thank you in Finnish. Thank you. Okay, so in Finnish, thank you is kiitos. Interesting. They say thank you as kiitos. All right, that's also quite different from Udmurt. Everything else that is here, for example, there's Udmurt s праздником, which means like sort of congratulations. There is a holiday or something. It's kind of like saying happy holidays, and it's very obviously derived from Russian because it's literally праздникен. So I'm not gonna say that. Obviously, Finnish language doesn't have this much Russian influence, so let's skip that part. And so far, the record is that nothing is really similar, but that is because Google Translate is showing me the most commonly used phrases in Finnish today, and there's obviously uncommonly used phrases and uncommon words that are still a part of the Finnish language that might fit in very well with this on the left. Not with salam, but with the other stuff. Let's move on to family. So, hold on, I got an advertisement. Okay. So, for man in Udmurt is going to be easy for me to pronounce. It's Vargaron. Vorgaron is man in Udmurt. Let me type that in here. Vorgaron is man. Let's see what is the man word in Finnish. Okay, let me select something that is the most similar to what I've seen then. Valkoinen sounds, I guess, sort of similar. Wait. How about if I type in male? Will I find anything similar if I type in male? No, not really. I don't really find anything very similar. Okay, wow, that's really crazy. That's crazy. Девочка or girl in Udmurt will be nilok. Nilok. Wow, very interesting word. Let me type that in, and then we'll compare that to Finnish. So девочка is nilok. Nilok is girl. Now let's see what is the Finnish word for girl. And the Finnish word for girl is tyttö. Interesting, tyttö. But you know what's interesting? It actually sort of reminds me of a Russian word. Uh, and the Russian word that this reminds me of is tётя. So tyttö, the way they pronounce it, sounds kind of similar to tётя, which is Russian for like just I guess woman. It could be either a woman you're related to, like literally your aunt or aunt if you're American, or it can also be applied to just a woman on the street. But the most I suppose academical use of the word, the most proper use of the word, is to apply to literally your aunt or aunt. Okay, мальчик or boy in Udmurt will be piyok. Piyok. Let me type that in. Piyok. That's boy. And let's see what is that in Finnish. Hold on. Piyok. A boy is poika. Oh, look at that. I found a similarity. I actually found a similarity. So it looks like the Udmurt boy is piyok and the Finnish boy is poika. Wow. I was already starting to lose hope that I would find any similar words, but it looks like I did find something. Very good to see. And Udmurt word for son is pie, and obviously it is very apparent that it derives from or is in some way related to the word piok. It is obviously related because it sounds really similar. So let me just write that on the left here. Pie. My keyboard is bad. Pie is son. All right. Um, what's very interesting is that their word for father in Udmurt is тятяя. And that also reminds me of a Russian word, or not even entirely Russian, also Ukrainian and Polish and just generally Slavic word тятька, which refers to basically a dad. It's an alternative way of saying dad, secondary to отец in Russian. Отец, of course, would be the most proper way to address your father, but тятька or тятя also works. Let me see. Let me type that in here. Hold on. Um, тятя. That's dad. Okay, now let's see dad in Finnish. Uh, it's Isa. Isa is dad. Okay, so that's a little bit different. That is for sure a little bit different in Finnish. All right. How about приглашение? I'm not even sure what's gonna be here. Okay. There's a lot of Russian derived words here. I don't really want to include this category. Let's see. Let's skip that actually. Let's move on to просьба or questions, asking somebody for something. So first, the word for I'm going to try to skip words that I don't know the English equivalent for. Просьба in Udmurt or request is kuron. So let me write that here. Kuron is request. And now let me translate that into Finnish and see what that pops up for Finnish. Request. Okay. Let's see if we see anything similar to. I don't really see anything similar to kuron here. I really don't see anything similar to kuron. Wow. Okay. Um, what else could I compare? Oh, there's words that are comprised of multiple. There's sentences here that are comprised of multiple words, and I can't translate that because I don't know which word is which. How about прошу вас? That's something I can translate. So in Udmurt, прошу вас, or I am asking you, I request of you, or I guess the most proper translation would be I ask of you. Kurisko tielidis. Oh, that's hard. That's difficult to pronounce. Kurisko tielidis. Tielidis. Let me try that again. Kurisko tielidis. It might be written in Cyrillic, but it is still very difficult for me to pronounce. These words are difficult. Let me try to type that into Latin characters here. Hold on. Kurisko. Kurisko. I okay, whatever. This. Stilidis. Okay. Ooh, that's difficult. And let's translate that into Finnish. I guess it would be I ask of you. That's the closest way to. Okay. Yeah. Yes. That's it's. Google Translate understood me. So the Finnish saying is "Kisin sinulta." Kisin sinulta. I ask of you. All right. Let's see what else I can compare here. So far, I'll be honest, I'm not seeing that many similarities. And of course, I don't speak either language, so I wouldn't know where to look for the similarity. I'm sure that I think if you're a Finnish speaker, this video might be interesting for you because you probably are drawing parallels between some of these words to your own language. Because Google Translate is only going to show you so much. I can't really get a whole complete understanding of the similarities unless I speak both languages, and I speak neither. Um, what about несогласие and отказ, such as no, for example? So the word for no in Udmurt is ug. Ug is just no. But there's also another. I don't know what BVBL means because in subscript here it says bvbl, whatever that means. BVBL. I'm not sure what BVBL is, but let me write that in here. Ug is no. Ug is no. And let's see no in Finnish. My screen turned off. Hold on. Okay. Let's see no in Finnish. In Finnish, no is a. Okay, yeah, a. Interesting. Yeah, that's quite difficult from ug. Um, Okay, in Udmurt, the word for не надо is kulj ovol. Не надо translating into English would be don't, like don't do something. Don't do something in Udmurt is kulj ovol. Let me type that in. That's quite easy for me to pronounce. Kulj ovol. That means don't. Now let's see what is that in Finnish. Okay, in Finnish it's alla vaiva. That's the easiest thing for me to pronounce here. Or alla talla minua. Very difficult for me to pronounce. Alla koskee puhelimeni. Или, может быть, it's puhelimeni. Anyway, I can't pronounce that. Too difficult. All right. There's a lot of sentences here that are comprised of multiple words, and I don't know which word is which. How about to look at the colors? The colors, there's got to be some similarities in the colors. So, Ali or scarlet in Udmurt is Lubl or Lemlet. Lubl sounds very similar to the Russian word to love, любить. Okay, I wonder if that comes from Russian influence or something. But let's type the word for scarlet. Lubl or Lemlet. Scarlet. Okay. Now let's translate that into Finnish. Scarlet. Helakanpunai. Oh, that's. Oh, Helakap. Oh, okay. No. Okay, no. I don't know what that is. I'm not seeing that many similarities. What about Bieli? Bieli in Udmurt is tbdi. Tbdi. Really? Tbdi? I wonder if they made a spelling mistake. Tbdi. Tbdi. It's really funny. Okay, let's type that in. Hold on. Let's try to type that in as it's written. uh, yeah, that's white. That's white in the word. Okay, let's see white in Finnish. White. White in Finnish is valkoinen or val. Actually, you know what? White in Finnish sounds a lot more like Russian. Valko. It sounds very similar to bielok or bielka, or I'm being reminded of the word bielok or bielko somehow, and that also is part of the same. I think the word for white in Finnish is actually from Indo-European origin. The way it looks to me, it looks like it derives from something similar to Russian. It's actually quite similar to Russian. The Udmurt thing, tbdy, is very foreign to me as a Russian. But valkoinen, I could probably even figure out what that is. Of course, context helps, but it does sound similar to Russian word for white. Голубой or blue in Udmurt is chagır. Let's write that here. Chagır. Chagır. That's blue. And let's see a word for blue in Finnish. Blue. Sininen. Come on. Okay, hold on. Actually, that's crazy. So, once again, the word for blue in Finnish actually looks very, very similar to the word for blue in Russian, which is sini. And thinking of it, it also reminds me of the word for blue in English for a certain shade of blue, which is cyan. So cyan, C-Y-A-N, is a shade of blue. And when you think about it, it sounds really similar to sini in Russian and sininen in Finnish. So once again, I think this is something that comes from Indo-European roots. Moving on to the word for green in Udmurt, green color like trees or grass in Udmurt is vors. Let's write that here. Vors is green in Udmurt. And let's see green in Finnish. Green in Finnish is vihreä. I wonder if I'm pronouncing this okay. Vihreä. You know, I guess I can kind of see a similarity between that and vors. I could see how they could come from a similar root. Okay. And I'm sure there is a word in Finnish that matches vors a lot closer than this. Okay. Krasny or red. The word for red in Udmurt is gord. Let's type that in. Hold on. Gord. Gord. That's red. And in Finnish, red is gonna be punainen. Punainen. No, that does not sound similar. It's funny. They have kommunistinen here because the Soviet Union flag was red. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, let's move on. Hold on. Let me. Okay. Next, I want to keep this video a little bit shorter. What about числа and счет or counting and math? All right. So the word for один or one is odik. Odik is one. Hold on. Odik. That's one. Now let's see one in Finnish. There's many words for one in Finnish. The one I heard previously is iksi. That's the one I heard frequently before. It's like iksi, kaksi, kolme, neljä or something. So yeah, iksi is the Finnish word for one, whereas the word for one in Udmurt is odig. Moving on to two. Two is kig. Kig. That's two. And what about Finnish? Two. Yeah, kaksi. Okay, that's actually really similar. Kig and kaksi sound very similar to me. All right, good to see. Three, or basically three, in Udmurt is queen. Queen? Yeah, queen, I think, because there's a soft sign at the end. So let me type that in. Queen. That's three. And in Finnish, three is gonna be kolme. You know what? That also sounds similar. That does sound similar. I think the words for counting is probably the best way to determine if a language is related or not, because pretty much all of the other vocab might be different and even unrecognizable, but this is really recognizable. This is really easy to sort of draw the parallel. For number 4 in Udmurt, it's going to be nil. Let me type that in Latin. Nil is 4. And in Finnish, it's neljä. Wow. So that's actually really similar as well. Okay. All right, good to see. And for number 5 in Udmurt, it's going to be vit. Vit for 5. And actually sounds similar to пять in Russian. But I know пять in Russian has a Indo-European root, so it's not from the same root. It just happens to sound similar. 5 in Finnish is viisi. Wow. That's really good. Wow, viisi and vit, that also sounds really similar. Okay. What about the word for 6? The word for 6 in Udmurt is шесть. Let's type that in here. Well, шесть is Russian. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Шесть is Russian, but Udmurt is quat. What is 6 in Udmurt? And let's see 6 in Finnish. Kuusi. Wow, that's really similar too. So far, all of the numbers except for 1 have been pretty much identical. Well, not identical, but like you could figure out what they mean. If you spoke the language, I'm sure you would understand everything here. For the letter 7, it's sizm in Udmurt. Let's type that in. Sizm. That's 7. And now let's see 7 in Finnish. And 7 in Finnish is seitsemän. Seitsemän. Also pretty similar. And both sound very similar to Indo-European languages too. Because that's kind of how we say 7 in Indo-European languages as well. But both the Finnish and the Udmurts have had long history of contacts with Indo-Europeans. So of course, in both of their languages, there's a lot of Indo-European loanwords. The word for 8 in Udmurt is tjamus. Let's type that in. Tjamus is going to be 8. And let's see 8 in Finnish. And this is another difference here. Because in Finnish, 8 is kahdeksan. Maybe it's kahdeksan. I wonder if they pronounce the h, the h sound. Kahdeksan. Or if they just say kahdeksan. I don't know. I'm not sure how Finnish language is read. Okay, so the word for 9 in Udmurt is ukmys. Ukmys. That's not difficult for me to pronounce. Ukmys is quite normal. Ukmys is 9. And let's see what is 9 in Finnish. Type that in. Ideksan. Ideksan. You know what? I think it kind of sounds similar. It does kind of sound similar, especially if they pronounce the E here as U, like Udeksan. That would be very similar. I do see some similarity here as well. It does sound pretty similar. And the word for 10 in Udmurt, and I think I will stop here because this has been quite like, oh, I have to talk. I don't like doing that. The word for 10 in Udmurt is das, which very, very obviously has Indo-European roots. Das is the word for 10. It's very similar to, I think, dos. No. What is it in Spanish? It's very similar to that in Spanish. I forgot what it is. Deuce? I don't know. Diez. Diez is in, yeah, so it's diez in Spanish. It's десять in Russian. It's dex something in Greek. Pretty much it's the same in every Indo-European language. So I'm not surprised. This is very clearly an Indo-European loanword. And in Finnish, they actually have a word, kimmenen. And kimmenen does not sound even remotely Indo-European. So Finnish actually seems to have the Uralic word for 10, a word that's not been affected by Indo-Europeans. Okay, very interesting. I'm gonna put my phone down. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. It was quite interesting. It's quite an interesting video. Maybe in the future I'll make something like this about Mari or Komi language as well. There's plenty of places online where you can get Mari and Komi translations into Russian. It was quite fun for me to explore, and I guess I'm done here.